So, in honor of today's theme, I'm going to talk about my favorite form of momentum, which is roller derby. Now, good, got a laugh. All right. So, in case you have missed the roller derby revolution that has been sweeping the world, here's all you're going to need to know for our purposes. Roller derby got its start in the 1930s in Chicago. It has always involved women. The sport is played with two teams of athletes on roller skates. Players score points by passing each other. It is a contact sport, and there is a whole lot of contact involved. Derby has had plenty of ups and downs over the years, and it has actually almost died out several times. And then about 15 years ago, the sport was reborn in Austin, Texas, and it has been spreading like wildfire ever since. Fans of roller derby enjoy the fact that they get to see the women that they otherwise know as their teachers or their nurses or their bartenders brutally tackle each other. Roller derby has always been rough and tumble. There is high speed, there is high impact, there are thrills and spills. Now, the version of the sport today is a little bit more punk. It's a lot more DIY. Roller derby skaters do not get paid. We do take on skater names. They're kind of like our alter egos. When I joined, I became Axles of Evil. I was an intrepid public radio journalist by day. I was a badass skater by night. And whatever inspired me to think I could take on 4 women at one time, I really don't know. I skated competitively for about 7 years in 2 states. I incurred more injuries than I could possibly count, and I loved every single minute of it. And then in 2008, I decided to retire. A couple reasons. I wanted to be able to still walk when I was 60. Wanted to spend some time with my husband, and I wanted to start a family. By the time I quit roller derby, I had made all of these amazing friends. I had piled up all these incredible memories, but did I feel like I learned any really big, tremendous life lessons? To be honest, not really. But I was wrong. I was very, very wrong. In May of 2011, I gave birth to this little girl. Her name is Eliza, but my derby friends christened her Axles of Weevil. Now, like many women I know, I thought I was as prepared as I could possibly be for motherhood right up until this point. Now, I'm a really smart woman, and I had devoured plenty of books about pregnancy and labor and delivery. I knew exactly what size fruit my 19-week-old fetus resembled, and I knew how to breathe during labor. But when it came to actually taking care of a baby and adjusting to life as a new mother, I was absolutely clueless. And it was hard. It was really, really, really hard. There was the constant exhaustion. There was the lack of sleep. There was the challenges of breastfeeding. There was the total isolation of staying at home alone with a newborn. And did I mention I was really, really tired? One day, in an attempt to get some kind of solid advice, maybe meet some fellow moms, I went to a meeting of a local breastfeeding support group. This was a situation that was supposed to make me feel more connected, and yet I walked away from the meeting feeling lonelier and more isolated than ever before. Now, I don't want to get me wrong here. I think that support groups of any kind for moms are really a wonderful, important thing, but let's face it, sometimes the vibe can get a wee bit chilly. I felt like the women at this particular support group were comparing notes on everything. How much their kid slept, how much their kid ate. This one woman humble bragged to me, "My daughter started walking when she was just 9 months old, and you have no idea how difficult it is once they start moving." And I looked down at my utterly motionless blob of a baby, and I wondered where I went so horribly wrong with her. Trudging back to my car, I realized I hadn't felt that awkward and that shy in a group of women in a really, really long time. In fact, I hadn't felt that way since my first roller derby practice. And then it suddenly dawned on me, this whole mother thing, it is a heck of a lot like roller derby. Hear me out. Roller derby attracts all sorts of women, career women, non-career women, loud women, shy women, big women, small women, women with a whole lot of money to spend, women with barely a cent to their name. The only thing derby women really have in common is a love of skating and a love of beating each other up. Motherhood's kind of a lot like that, too. Now, don't get me wrong, we intend to enjoy nurturing people instead of beating them up, but it is one of those few endeavors in life that truly takes all types of women. And just because we all share this thing in common doesn't mean that we all will get along or that we all should get along, which is a point I'm going to get to in just a few moments. But once this whole derby is like motherhood thing dawned on me, I realized I was really on to something. Motherhood and roller derby share quite a bit in common, like the gear. Both of these endeavors usually involve the purchase of a lot of stuff. For moms, you know, it's the strollers, it's the baby carriers, and the swaddle, and the bassinet, and the car seat. For derby skaters, it's the helmet, and the roller skates, and the mouth guards, and the knee pads. And then there's the stink. They're both really stinky things. Whoever thinks that a onesie covered in spit up is a gross smell has never smelled the wrist guard of a derby skater after a game. You can add to that the dramatic shift in one's social life when you take on one of these endeavors. Once bitten by the roller derby bug, you suddenly find yourself completely obsessed with all things derby. Friends you've known for an entire lifetime are a little less inclined to hang out with you because all you do is talk about the various choices in outdoor skating wheels and which derby name might suit you best, things that are dearly important to you, but to your friends, frankly, not so much. Likewise, when you become a mom, all you do is talk about how many poops your kid had today, what food you should first feed her, how amazing his first laugh was, things that are dearly important to you, but again, to your old friends, maybe not so much. In roller derby, not only do we take on skater names, many of us take on entirely new personas. That woman once known for being shy and quiet at work is suddenly the loudest person at practice. The gal who's always considered herself this tremendous dork is the coolest, most popular skater at a game. Motherhood can change us too. The woman who once went out on the town 6 nights a week suddenly finds herself home for weeks on end, wearing that same t-shirt and maternity jeans, even though she's no longer pregnant. The 80-hour-a-week career woman suddenly wonders why she is so bone tired, when really all she did was take care of a kid all day. And then, of course, there is the drama. Derby is filled with it. Skaters get furious with each other over issues like what their team uniform should look like or what the latest penalty rules are, who gets to play what position in an upcoming game. It can get actually pretty nasty. Momland also has its share of drama. Online parenting groups just explode with debates about vaccinations, sleep training, public school versus private school. It can get nasty. Now, remember what I said earlier, that just because we all share this thing in common doesn't mean that we all will get along or that we all should get along. Moms are not going to change. For example, some of us think that if you let a kid cry it out in his crib, you will emotionally scar him for life. Others of us steadfastly believe that if you don't let a kid cry it out in his crib for a while, that child will never grow up to be an independent adult. My belief, as long as the internet survives, it is safe to say that these contentious mommy wars over how we raise our kids are never going to end. But what we can change is how we wage them. We can be respectful of our differences, and more importantly, we can be mindful of the similarities which remain despite all of those heated differences. This is what I realized I learned playing roller derby, and it really is an important life lesson. The sport taught me that it is okay to vehemently disagree with other people about the things we care deeply about, as long as we're respectful. Yes, derby girls are pretty lucky. We have this great built-in mechanism for dealing with the drama that comes with our conflicts. We get our aggressions out on the tracks with our skates on, doing roller derby. Now, I am not suggesting that what moms should do is lay each other out, although who knows, maybe a little roller derby action at some local moms groups would not be such a bad idea. In fact, I did once introduce the notion of stroller derby, but we realized might be a little bit unsafe. What I am suggesting here is that we rewrite the motherhood manuals on what to expect when expecting. We need to prepare women not only for the changes that are going to happen to them physiologically, but the ones that will happen to them psychologically as well. To remind them that even if they've done this amazing job of being the best in their career field, they might feel a little bit lost at this parenthood thing for a while. That just because they go to a mommy and me group with parents from the same neighborhood who have kids of the same age, they may not necessarily find their next best friend right away. But as long as parents love their kids are going to turn out just fine. Now, so far I've talked about mothers and the women of Derby, but don't get me wrong, fathers also have to grapple with many of these same issues. The overwhelming nature of parenthood, the debates over child-rearing choices, balancing their work life and their home life. And I really hope that dads, too, can find a way to be passionate in their beliefs and simultaneously respectful in their differences. My kid is now 4 years old, and I am a lot more comfortable and a lot more confident as a mom. And this is in no small part to an online moms group, but this time it was the one that I started. Now, once I keyed into all these parallels between roller derby and parenthood, I thought, hey, why not start a mommy group for roller derby skaters? So I contacted the roughly 8 roller derby moms that I knew in LA, and I started a Facebook group. A few years later, we now boast hundreds of members all across the country. And we greet new members by saying, welcome to the place where you can talk as much as you want about your boobs and about poop and about how much you really cannot stand your child today without any fear of judgment. Now, for those of you whose children are now all grown up, for those of you who may never have kids in your lifetime, I hope that wherever you do find momentum in your life, you can apply some of the principles that we've come to learn. Don't let the things that stir friction stop you. When you fall down, know that it is okay. Get up and keep skating. Thank you.